Hello and welcome to another session looking at Proverbs. Today is Friday, and so that means that this is our last session for this week. And as we come to the end of a week, we come to the end of Proverbs 2. So we're going to look at Proverbs 2, verses 21 to 22. And 21:22 says this: For the upright will dwell in the land, and the blameless will remain in it. But the wicked will be cut off from the earth, and the unfaithful will be uprooted from it. Now, all the way through this week, we've been looking at, again, wisdom, focusing on why wisdom is important and why we need to keep on that pathway of wisdom, of making decisions and choices that are going to be beneficial to us and to others, and to not harm our relationship with God, to not cause destruction in our relationship with God. And as we come to the end of this chapter today, Solomon is saying, For the upright will dwell in the land, and the blameless will remain in it. If we walk in righteousness, which is what we discussed yesterday, we will dwell in the land, a land that is positive. God promised the Israelites prior to this, and it was years and years before this, he promised the Israelites that they would live in a land full of milk and honey. If we look back at the beginning of the Bible, we have the Garden of Eden, a garden that was perfect, where Adam and Eve were placed, and they had a relationship with God that wasn't tarred, that had no sin in it. And this is what I believe Solomon is saying here. For the upright will dwell in the land, and the blameless will remain in it. If we walk in a righteous way and that we are blameless, then we can live in that perfect land. And what is our aim? That we strive towards that each day. We strive towards a positive life, a life that is not upsetting to God, but a life that is increasing God in our own lives and our relationship with Him, but also increasing God in other people's lives. And then Solomon gives this warning, but the wicked will be cut off from the earth, and the unfaithful will be uprooted from it. If we walk in a world of being wicked, then we will be cut off from God's love. We will be cut off from the promises that God has for us. We will be walking into a road of destruction, ultimately of death. And that is spiritual death, spiritual blindness. If we don't walk in that pathway of wisdom, of living a life that is pleasing to God, then we walk in darkness and we walk in death. So I encourage you that at the end of this week, when we have been thinking about wisdom in more detail, be encouraged that we are to walk in that pathway of righteousness, in that pathway of following and believing in Jesus Christ. It is through this pathway that we gain wisdom. We've talked before about the fear of God. Why would we want to upset somebody who has power over everything? Walk in the relationship with God, trusting Him, keeping Him close by our sides, calling out to Him when we need to. God never leaves us. He never forsakes us. It is us that turn away from Him and think that we can go our own way. That is not walking in wisdom. That is walking in wickedness and unfaithfulness. So think about it over the next few days. Are we walking in a world and a pathway of wisdom, or are we walking in one of unfaithfulness? Bless you. I hope this encourages you and gives you something to reflect on over the coming days.